reaction. Here is a straight up blues rock power jam from The Who circa 1970 with some exemplary Moon drumming. Eric catching that vocal hit on the crash, hey, and catches it with the cymbal, not unlike James Brown. I think this might be the first time I've seen or heard The Who bringing the dynamics down. So Keith Moon, this crazy drummer who's always off bashing and kicking over drums and going nuts, he's also got dynamics. He's got an ability that we all want to be inside the music. It's a weird term, I know. It's probably the only way I can describe. You know it when you hear it, and you know it when you see it. Some people have an ability to get inside the music, and it's almost like they're invisible in the track, and they're just, you could think of it like they're doing everything you want and nothing you don't want. It's just perfect art. And that was controlled chaos. There was a tempo, and that's about it. There wasn't much holding it together. Good luck to the singer on that. Feels almost like with great rock and great heavy rock groups, traditionally with that fiery aspect of a bit of conflict within the band, potentially a bit of conflict of egos, conflict of ideas, conflict of styles, often stemming from, a lot of the time, originals bands, or traditionally at least, or rock stars not having like a formal music training and effectively making things up as they go. And again, this might sound hoity-toity coming from someone who went to jazz school. I don't mean it like that. I mean it in a good way. I feel like you need that lightning in a bottle to be authentic rock. I also think to some degree you probably need to walk the walk and sort of be authentic rock, as opposed to pretending we can all see authenticity. I'm not saying you need to go out and do illegal substances and destroy hotel rooms to be a legit good rock player. I'm just saying that there's some level of authenticity where the approach is rock. And I can hear it. This is a mess. It's almost sounds to me like it's fallen apart. That was 1970s, so they were 6 years into their career, so I'm assuming they were pretty established. I don't know how many albums deep they were by that point, but obviously they were pretty established in their style. I'm surprised at how much improv was going on there. I'm surprised at how free that was. Other than the hits, which seem to be signified by Townsend's, guitar, bam, that's the button on the hit. It's hard to sort of spot or see the communication on how they're reaching those points and how they're kicking off again and starting and stopping. And yeah, that was a heavy one. That was also really interesting to note all the mouthing, which also indicates how inside the music and how into this he is. And it's almost like he's channeling all that hyperactivity and all of these thoughts that are probably going through his head into the drums and into the music, really, really channeling it. And he's mouthing words, he's looking at people, and he is like right there, man, like right in the zone of the week. Here is a link to the filmed footage of Won't Get Fooled Again, but this time it is a 6-camera view. Something really, really interesting here. He's not playing the drums that hard. I don't know if you're ever going to hear that on any Keith Moon / The Who reaction. He's not hitting the drums very hard. Completely controlled. Wow. Just thinking about the whole destructive element, I gotta be honest, that part of it, not for me. I totally get at the time and in certain situations, i.e. Jimi Hendrix burning his guitar, I totally get it as a statement, depending on the era, depending on what you're trying to make. But to repetitively do it, it sort of loses its power and becomes a bit of a gimmick. I think I get pretty tired with venues and engineers, especially if mics are getting smashed, and then you've got to replace. Mics are expensive. But hey, I don't want to be the old man shaking my fist at the cloud at something that was going on in the 60s and 70s. It has affected music. I think it's affected glam metal. I think it was a forerunner for all that stuff. Sort of the posturing around the stage. Pete Townsend with the windmill guitar strums. And obviously, I don't know, I can't think of someone else who, off the top of my head, was destroying kits. Yeah, that now, in a 2023 environment, I don't think that's gonna impress people, or, you're probably just gonna look like a idiot. This, you have to think of things in the era though. 60s and 70s, coming out of, I guess, a polite era, broadcasting standards, certain things you're allowed to do, certain things you're not. I think, was it Psycho? Hitchcock movie was the first film to show a toilet. A toilet seat up or something in a film. It's very hard to put yourself back into an era where certain things would have been shocking and completely unusual. And, these guys are unhinged. We have to go to their next concert because they blew up the drum kit at this gig. We have to go see these guys when they get to this part of town. Sure. Also, not having the internet in the 60s and 70s, obviously, right? So there'll be a lot of myth and legend, and stories will be just getting bigger and bigger, snowballing, and you get this legendary mythology behind this band. And in the case of The Who, it's probably warranted that there were some pretty hard rockin', real deal rock and roll stories going on. Really, really interesting for me here to see how, I wouldn't say he was playing cautiously, he was playing controlled. Moon the Loon and all that, and this guy destroys a drum kit, plays it like he rents it. He played that drum kit like it owed him money. He treated it like it owed him money, especially standing on it, jumping off it, and Pete Townsend, throwing cymbals away, pushing them with his guitar. But when the song was on, song was king. Song was king. And he really did it justice and paid attention to the appropriate dynamic and the appropriate parts. So for as reckless as Keith Moon may or may not have been, when the music is on, the music is number one. I think I said it on the first video, maybe the second reaction that I did for this week. Keith Moon is a natural musician who is inside the music. He's one of these rare people where he's just inside the music. He's internalized his part. He kind of is his part. He spills over onto the drum part. He and his personality just come through and leave this signature, a very unique and soulful, I would say, in a way, honest signature on the music.